Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm looking at, so I'm just making sure everything's working correctly before we get started.
Okay.
And it seems to be. Yep. The notifications have gone out, so that's a great start. Welcome in, everyone. I know we have a slow start this morning. However, we have a great person. I'm so excited to introduce, hi, Christine, introduce um, Tina Escoto.
Good
Um,
morning.
and she's has Mystic Horse Journeys. But if you look up her name, Tina Escoto, that's all you need. You will find her. You will find out where her center is and her website, everything you need to know to get a hold of her. Now, as you know, I introduced them on how I met them. I met Tina Escoto live in person on August 29th, 2022. It was a Monday. It was the last Monday of August. And I remember this because this was the beginning of my life, my journey. And Tina has a class. It said circle, and I used that word for quite a while. But some of the people I met, they got out of sorts when I used that word. So I just started saying class and making it easier on everyone so they didn't freak out. Anyway, we learned a lot of things there. I've learned everything, the basics that I needed to know, and learned how to practice my abilities from Tina. And I keep learning every Monday that I go there. So, welcome in, Tina. Thank you so much for coming in. I know it was kind of last minute, but it works out divine timing. So I appreciate it.
It's divinely perfect the way that it worked out. Yeah. I mean, I just happen to have I could rearrange the schedule a little bit to be able to sit with you for a couple hours. So I'm excited. This is exciting. Thank you for having me.
We have Bonnie currently.
Hey, Bonnie.
Brenda is from Houston. She used to come to Tuesday night classes.
Hi,
Uh,
Brenda.
Katie comes in. I think you're Missouri, Katie. I always get mixed up with you and one other person. And then Christine Lanigan. So we have quite a few people starting out this morning. And I'm glad you are all are here. Tina, please tell us your story.
Wow, that's a loaded question. I don't even know where to start with this because people have these stories that they had this great awakening or they were born this way. Mine just sort of morphed. I do believe I was born with the abilities, and I shut it down as a child because I was petrified in my bedroom every single night. And to the point where I would intentionally wet the bed knowing that I would have repercussions in the morning because I was just too afraid to get out of my bed because I knew there was stuff in my room. So that's the only thing that I really remember as a child. And then fast forward many years, the first psychic thing that happened to me that I vividly remember impacting my life. I think it was 15 or 16, and I was watching the TV, and all of a sudden on the TV, I had a premonition of President Reagan getting shot.
Oh,
And at that time, I was only 15. I was like, what do I do? People will think I'm crazy. And if it does happen, then they point the finger at me. I'm like, because it was so vivid. And then 2 days later, it happened. So that's the first time that I really had a idea of something like that, but I still did not know what a medium was. I knew what a psychic was, but I had no idea what a medium was. And so I just went about my life, not realizing I had common sense, street smarts, psychic abilities. Those are all the words you give it. Gut instinct, hunch, all business sense. That's all that I worked with that entire time. during my career in the automotive industry. And I didn't think anything of it. I thought everybody had those abilities. And it wasn't until my second son, I got pregnant with my second son, that things started really changing. My whole metabolism changed with him. I always tell this story. Prior to my son, I could only drink one alcoholic beverage. If I had two, then I would start to get a little ill. I'd get a headache, it wouldn't feel good. When I was pregnant with my son, that's how I found out I was pregnant, because I could drink. And I had like one drink, and then I had another, and I'm like, something's wrong, something's off here. And then I had another, and I'm like, okay, what's changed? Well, my metabolism changed because of him. And he was the catalyst of taking me A to Z in a very short period of time, spiritually speaking. So lots of tragedy in my life. You know, I had a time where I lost a lot of my family. From 1988 to 92, I lost my mother, my brother, my grandmother, my grandfather, and an aunt. My brother died of AIDS. My mother was in a car accident. My aunt was murdered. I mean, just weird stuff happening. And that still didn't bring on, I didn't know what mediumship was at that point. Still didn't know. And it wasn't until later in my life that started. I saw my first dead person. My next door neighbor had committed suicide. He was a Secret Service agent, and he was, just a short story, he was separated from his wife, and his wife called me and said, hey, can you go check on him? Something's wrong. Something's off. He lived 2 doors down. My husband and son went over to the house. We hear a gunshot. I immediately call the police, and he had committed suicide. And that was on Memorial Day weekend. And that Tuesday when I went into work, there he was, right in my face, wouldn't leave me alone. It was going, I was going crazy. I was at work, I needed to work, and all I could see is my next door neighbor who had committed suicide. Everywhere I went, everywhere. And finally I had to call his wife and give her a message for him. And that was opening up the door for me to see spirit. So I am clairvoyant. I do see spirit. I see them like I see you. And I don't walk around seeing dead people, though. It is something that I have to turn on. And I think spirit protected me from that, because they knew I was still in corporate. They knew I had to work. And if I walked around seeing dead people all the time, I wouldn't be able to do that. So it's very much controlled. So, but that in a nutshell, that's sort of how it blossomed and started that way.
Well, and I know you tell this story often. However, a lot of these people haven't heard it. I mean, we mention it sometimes, but it's your story.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned that you saw your neighbor in front of you at work. And you also have told us that you were let go. So how long after that?
It was quite a while.
It was quite a while. Okay.
I believe that Tony passed in 2005, I think. 2006, maybe, I'm not quite sure. And yeah, funny story. I was fired from my job, my corporate job. I had been in the car industry for 33 years, service and parts director for car dealerships. And in 2013, I had a meeting with a woman that did some work out of Sedona. And she told me that Spirit wanted me doing this full time, and that they'll give me a year, 2 years tops. I said, well, I'm not going to quit my 6-figure job to do this. It's not going to work. I have to support my family. You know, I was very much into my left brain, very logical and practical. And I said, no, I'm not going to quit. Sure enough, August 1st, 2015, the company pulled me into the office and said, we're letting you go. We're going in a different direction, and you're not in that direction. That's the excuse they gave me. Inside, I was doing the happy dance. But outside, I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I'm the breadwinner of the family. I support 3 households. How am I going to do this? Am I going to do this? And so I had a discussion with Spirit and God, and I said, okay, you want me to do this, and I'll do this. I will give it a good college try for 2 years, and then I'll reevaluate. But you must support me financially with my family. I've never been without food. I've never been without housing. Am I making the 6 figures? No, but that's not what this is about. This is about helping the masses understand that they have abilities, they have the power, and they can have their own peace within. And it's free and it's simple. But unfortunately, our society takes the control out of everybody's hands, thinking that you can't do it on your own. Well, I've seen people heal themselves with the healers that I work with. I've seen people be successful by working with natural law and law of attraction and just changing their minds and changing their thoughts. So I've seen a lot of success with people over the years. I mean, look at you. You come into class and I just help you a little bit and you're off to the races. And I do believe I'm like the kindergarten teacher for spiritual people. I do help people get on their path. I mean, I can take them to a higher level if they want to, but I can also just teach them the basics if that's what they need. So that's how I got started in it. I really had no intentions of teaching, to be honest with you. I didn't consider myself a teacher. And I've tried to get out of it, but Spirit keeps pushing me back to teaching. The class that you go to on Monday night, I started in 2013 out of my home.
Oh, so you were doing that before?
Mm-hmm. I was having a weekly gathering, a home circle, where we practiced abilities. And then I just branched it off into a class. It was at a Piece of the Universe when she was when she still had her store. And then I moved it to Everything Just Rocks. My center here in Cave Creek, I have a different class that runs, and that one's been since 2018.
Right. And that's usually, it was on Saturdays all the time, right?
It was every Saturday, but now it's the 4th Saturday of every month. But I am going to start a mediumship series out of my center on weekends, a mediumship study group where people that they might have mediumship abilities, but they don't know how it works. They don't know how to control it. They don't know how to expand on it. I'm finding that there's a little need for that in my classes because I have people that come in and they don't understand a lot. And my classes, on Monday nights, it's hard to teach because I have so many different levels. So I was thinking of putting in a mediumship class on a weekend where people can study mediumship and study how it works, the properties, how the energy works, how the guides work with you, just everything about mediumship and psychic abilities.
And I know you've done other mediumship classes.
Oh, yeah.
Previously.
I have. I mean, I've done beginning, intermediate. I've done advanced. The only thing that I have not taught is healing. And that is my forte.
Yes.
My healing team, the healers that work through me are extremely gifted. I want to give them lots of credit and lots of kudos because they are amazing what they do with people. I've seen tumors shrink. I've seen things disappear. I've seen pain levels go away with people that are in chronic pain. I mean, I can just go on and on of the work that they have done. It's not me. I am just the conduit. They are the healers. And so they're just really amazing, the work that they can do. And people, the thing is people have the ability to work with their own healers and they just don't know. They don't know how to do it. And to me, I go to the healers before I grab a bottle of aspirin.
Yeah, I had something happen that I used Tylenol on. I'm not really happy that I did, but anyway.
Yeah.
Victor from Sweden says, great meeting you, Tina.
Hi, Victor.
And Kevin is from Upper State, New York. Is that how they say it? I don't remember.
Upstate New York.
Okay.
Hey, Kevin. Nice, beautiful area up there. I went to the Omega Institute up there, and that's in Rhinebeck, New York. And then I've also went to Lilydale up there. It's really pretty. It's not at all what I thought New York was going to be like.
When you were talking about kindergarten, that's when he says, and that's where I am, Tina.
we all have to start somewhere, Kev. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, I don't think it was the first day, obviously, but within about, and I was going every Monday, guys. It was probably 2 months later that I was thinking to myself, it's like, I want to soar. And it's like, kid, you haven't even learned how to crawl yet or sit up. So first do that before you try soaring or flying, because it's not going to work. And this is Bonnie. She misses you. And
Oh yeah.
she
Hey Bonnie, send me your address and I'll send you a bottle of clearing spray. Just let me know if you want the 4 ounce or the 2 ounce.
Yep. It is. I'm in Rochester. Yeah.
Okay. It is gorgeous up there.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I was thinking, Julie, we have all these spiritual experiences that happen to us, all these crazy things. And, what experiences have your guests had, or your audience? Have they had any crazy things happen that they can't explain, or things that?
I'm sure they have, and I know that they want to talk to you about it. I know that. Victor, LOL, is it still $20? I thought it was 16, but it might be 20.
For what? For what? Lilydale?
No, this is Bonnie.
Oh, Bonnie. Oh, the spray. Okay, Bonnie. The spray is it's 16 for a small bottle and 32 for a large bottle.
Yeah.
I started doing the larger bottles because people wanted more of it.
I know. I can't keep up with it. Every time I go to the class, it's like, oh, I need to get some. I didn't have more cash, and I just didn't want to deal with it. So, but I've got to get some. It's probably better to get the 32. That way I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, it lasts longer.
Yeah. Well, I know you have a lot of stories.
Yeah, I do.
What happened to you?
I've got, well, let's see here. Okay, I'll tell you a recent story that happened to me, and this is a healing story. At the time, I didn't think it was healing, but later it was revealed to me by spirit that that's a form of healing. So I had a dear friend that that was in hospice. He was dying. His name was Larry. And his wife had called me on a Friday night and said, hey, can you come with me? Because they say that, he's going to pass this weekend. So I go there with Miss Louise, that's his wife, and we're in the hospice. And I know that Larry knew that she was there because, they can hear us. They may not respond, but they can hear at the time when they're crossing. Okay. And so she was talking to him, and I could tell, I said, he hears you, She had to leave the room because she just couldn't bear being there. It really was tearing her up. I said, it's okay. I'll be with him. I'll stay with Larry. So I sat on Larry's bed and I put my hand on him and I asked the healers to come in and heal him. And I wasn't really paying attention, but what happened was he stopped breathing. And then it was a real long, that really long pause. And then he'd go, and then he'd breathe. At that time, Louise had walked in the door and I said, Louise, he's transitioning. And he shouldn't have, because the nurse had just come in and she's like, oh, he's got more time, because they can tell. But the healers helped him cross sooner than waiting the day or two or whatever. And so I felt really bad because I touched him and then he stopped breathing. And I was just asking the healers to come in and heal him. And they thought it was time that he were to go home. Now, one thing about the spirit world, when a child is born, they cry because they know the hardships that child is going to endure here on earth. But when someone dies, they look at it differently and they rejoice. It's a big party. They're coming home. They're happy. Complete opposite of here with us in the human form, which is very, very interesting, I think. So anyway, I take Miss Louise home and I stay with her for a little bit. Larry did pass. And as I'm driving home, Larry comes to me and he thanked me for helping him. And that's when it dawned on me that healing also can help heal for transition. And I know they have death doulas out there. I really don't like the word death doula. It's something that I want to look at more because there is a need to help the family with the death to understand the process of what's happening in a spiritual sense, to be able to see the loved ones in the room and experience that with the family. To me, it's a great honor. And so I am going to look into end of life transition healing. It's not the name I'm giving it, but I'm going to help healing in transition. But it's more so, it's for the family at the same time, because I just recently had the privilege of helping one of my students, her mother, crossing.
Okay.
And I was able to go in and help the family, let them know who is around their mother waiting, and that they're waiting and they're going to have a big party. And there was all this excitement on the other side for her to come home. And then to be able to do the healing, the trans healing on the person that's transitioning, but also on the family to help them with the grief. To me, that's a huge honor. And that's something that is a form of mediumship that's not being looked at as much.
And speaking of that, we have a certified death doula, and that is Miss Bonnie. She's certified. So that's why I put this up there. I put her name up before, and then she says, I am certified. So
Good. Yeah, it's just something that has come up in my line of sight. And so it's something that I will help people with if they need it, and there is a need for it. I mean, we help bring life in, but we don't really do anything with death. It's sort of taboo to everybody. And why is that? Why don't we explore death more and what happens when we die? There is a review board that people go over. They don't understand the review board. They don't understand, the process sometimes. And when you study it, and it's very interesting what happens when people cross. Do we have some questions?
we do, but before we get to the questions that just popped up, I want to put this up. Is there anything you can tell Kevin? Because he says, have a story to tell, but he doesn't want, it's not public. So if there's any non-public ones you wanted to share.
Who, me?
No,
or
Kevin.
Okay.
Please, afterlife travel agent for a more whimsical name. Love that, Kevin. I'm sorry. And Bonnie started out with calling on angels, and now she's your love goddess, but that's not her doula part of it. And then Christine, because you had asked for questions earlier, or stories. I had a crazy thing happen yesterday evening. My lamp started flickering frantically. I know it was my late husband who passed. It was incredible, and I've even got a chance to videotape it. I'd love to show it to you. Oh, love to have it.
That's so cool. Spirit can come through, and they can flicker lights. They can bring in objects called apports, APPORTS, and that's an object that they can bring in from the other side and drop in. It takes a lot of energy for spirit to do that, but you can talk to them. So if the light's flickering, what I would do, I would say, if this is my husband, make it go faster or turn it off. There's ways that you can start the communication so that they understand that they're getting through to you, because a lot of times spirits on the other side And they're trying to touch in your energy field, and they're trying to get your attention, but you're oblivious to it. You're not paying attention to how spirit is touching in with you. So they just give up. It's like, well, they're not listening. They don't hear me. They don't feel me. So I guess what I'm doing is wrong. Or it's not getting through to that person. So if you were to acknowledge that, oh, wow, that light's flickering, and I feel like it's my husband. If this is you, can you make it go stronger? Start experimenting, exploring the phenomenon that's happening around you. Like I have a toy room. I have granddaughters, and they come over and they play, and I have a toy room with electronic toys in there. And they're constantly going off. Spirit's constantly playing with the toys. And they usually do it late at night, which freaks out my son because it's on his side of the house and he hears the electronics going off. But hey, I've got them turned off, but they still come on. Okay, so spirit can come through and they do want to get your attention. So pay attention to that. I mean, how many of you feel spirit out there? Does anybody out there feel spirit?
Well, yeah, and Bonnie is saying we call it end of life doula now. There's
End of life. Okay.
Movement started. And yes, what Kevin said, afterlife travel agent for a more whimsical name.
Yeah.
And then if Bonnie says it's sacred,
It is.
It is sacred, very sacred.
It's honor. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was there with my dad as he was actively transitioning, but I left it to my brother and sister to actually watch the transition because I'd been with him for 2 years.
Yeah.
This was their first time to be around him, so I left it to them. Movement takes experience and energy, and everything is energy. And this is Bonnie again. My son moved and closed my security system panel. Closed. Okay.
Okay.
So her son is definitely moving things.
Yeah. Okay.
And this is Christine who had the experience. I did say out loud that I loved him.
Okay, that's good. It's good, Christine, that you acknowledge him so that he understands that he's getting through. So, and you might also feel his presence. I say this in my class, but how you can feel spirit is you might feel like you've got something touching the top of your hair and you go and there's nothing there, or you have a loose hair in your face,
Yes.
or a cobwebby feel. A lot of times I'll feel something like I have sweat rolling down my face, but I don't, because I'll go to touch and there's nothing there. Or I know when spirit comes in, they can make your heart flutter a little bit or beat fast. A lot of my clients that come to me, they say that they're experiencing anxiety attacks or panic attacks, and I go, okay, well, let's break it down and make sure it's not a spiritual thing happening to you. Because when spirit steps in your auric field, their energy, their vibration is so strong, it sort of disrupts yours a little bit. And the reason I know this is I was taking my blood pressure just a few months ago, and I'm in my bedroom and I'm taking my blood pressure, and all of a sudden I feel spirit blend with me because I feel them in my back. So I feel this little shudder in my back, couple, and I'm like, oh, okay, you guys are blending with me, right? Well, it was okay, but what it did is it gave me an irregular heartbeat on my monitor. So as an experiment, because everything to me is an experiment, I'm a skeptic until proven different. So I put the cuff on again. I asked spirit not to blend with me at all, to back away, and my heartbeat was regular. I don't have a heart condition. I don't have anything wrong. But their energy impacted that meter, impacted my heart, that it was irregular. And that's exactly what I feel when they blend with me, is my heart does a little shudder. And that's just energy. But a lot of people come in and they have anxiety attacks, but they don't. It's actually their team is so excited to come in and spend time with them. They get so excited that they put too much energy in, and it makes them feel like they're having a panic attack. I don't know if anybody else out there has had that happen, but if you do suffer from panic attacks, first off, discern whether it's a real panic attack or if it's spirit. I always say, check in with spirit. If this
Yep.
is you guys, this is too much for me, please back away. Okay, and it should subside. So just keep that in mind. And then also, if you're in a quiet space and you start to have a panic attack, that's probably it's probably spiritual at that point, because there's nothing around that would cause you to have a panic attack. Okay, so
And
some things that I see.
yes. And you see so much more. I'm still in cognitive and sentinel, clair sentinel right now, but my clairvoyance is getting better. So Bonnie says, lost the man I loved, and he came to me during transition and spoke to me. And she's
Wow.
agreeing with you. The fluttering, yep. I'm just hitting Bonnie's right now, and I'll go to the other ones too. Okay, so back to who was it? Was it Summer? Hold on, there's so many of you, and I really appreciate it. Yeah, Summer Dawson had asked if there was anybody around her now, and she talked to her daughter's dad this morning. How can I know if he heard me?
Ask for a sign. So what I would do is, sometimes you may not get it right away because it does take them some time to figure out how to do it in that. But I would just say, if you're around, please show me a sign and make it clear for me. I'm gonna tell you a little story here. Spirit's been placing on my mind. This was 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago, to sit for physical mediumship. And for those of you that don't know, physical mediumship it's a different type of mediumship. Some of the statistics I got is like 1 in 200,000 have the ability to do physical mediumship. It's where a medium can produce a substance called ectoplasm, which is produced by their pancreas, and it comes out of any orifice. And to sit for physical, you have to be really dedicated. You may sit for years and not get any phenomenon. So it's one of those things that it just takes a lot of dedication. And before I was going to step in to do that, I needed to know that Spirit really wanted me to do that my team wanted me to sit for physical. So I said, guys, I call them guys, friends, guys. I said, you're going to have to give me a sign and you're going to have to make it crystal clear because I'm a little dense. And I always joke about that with my team, my friends, my guides. So 2 weeks passed and nothing. I get in my shower on a Thursday morning. I'll never forget this. And in the corner of my shower are 2 amethyst crystals, polished amethyst crystals. And for those of you that know me, I don't work with crystals. I don't really do anything with crystals. I don't buy them. They're just not on my radar. The only crystal I like is a diamond. Okay. So anyway, I had 2 amethyst crystals. I'm like, these are from Spirit. This is an apport. Again, I'm going to say apport, APPORT, and it's an object. It's when Spirit can bring in something from the other side and give it to us. So I'm like, okay, that got my attention. So that Friday morning, the next day, I get in the shower and there is a rose quartz crystal. So if I didn't get it the first time, they made it crystal clear. Crystals, they gave me crystals.
Yes, exactly.
Crystal clear. And so I started sitting for physical. And that was over 2 years ago. And so anyway, that's how they can communicate. I wish that my guides communicated to me clearly like we're talking. Mm-hmm. I ask a question, I get an answer, but it doesn't happen that way for me. And it may take them time to get me the answer. I may hear the answer right away. I may see it later. It just varies. So pay attention to signs. Pay attention to little things that might get moved in your house. If you're the only one living there and all of a sudden something turns up missing, it might be a spirit having a little fun. You never know. They might just be wanting to get your attention.
So Summer is saying that she asked him to show her a sign after one night at his grave. She got in her car, there was a moth. Was that a sign?
Well, if the moth means anything to you, yes.
Or to him.
Or to him. it just depends on what it means to you. I mean, to me, a moth wouldn't be a sign, but I don't have anybody in spirit that was attracted to moths or studied moths or anything like that. So you just really have to see, what you feel when you get that message. One thing, you don't have to go to the cemetery to be close to him.
Right.
He's right with you. They're always with you. Okay. You just have to pay attention to the signs. You might see, some of the typical signs are butterflies, dragonflies. My sign is a cardinal. So I lost my dad a few months ago. He passed suddenly, unexpected. And I'm at his house and I see a cardinal in the backyard. Now, cardinals are my sign. I see cardinals in a lot of places. And so this was in Texas and Waco, Lorena, Texas, outside of Waco. And I see a cardinal in the backyard, which was unusual. And I said, Dad, if this is you, give me a sign that this is you and make it really evident. I had 3 male cardinals show up all at once. I'm like, there's my sign. That's my dad. Okay. So, things like that. My mom is an owl. Every time I hear an owl or see an owl, it reminds me of my mom because she loved owls. Yeah. So, it just depends on what connection you have with the person. Sometimes they can come through by music too. I remember one time I was back home in Indiana. I was driving. I was going to go see my mom's friend on the interstate. She was off the interstate. I missed the exit. And I'm like, well, heck, it's 20 miles to the next exit. And then I'd have to do a loop and come back around 20 miles. That's a way out of my ways. I said, I'm not going to go see my mom's friend. I'm just going to go visit my brother instead. The radio changed channels when I made that decision to a Patsy Cline song. And my mom loved Patsy Cline. So I'm like, okay, Mom, I'll go 20 miles out of my way, 40 miles actually out of my way to go visit your friend. And I'm glad I did. When I got there, I found out that she had lost 2 of her children and that her husband was ill. And so that's how my mom got me to stop at her friend's house by changing the radio station I was listening to and putting on a song that was one of her favorites. So it's little signs like that. Sometimes we can miss them if we're not looking for them, guys. And that's why I wanted to share that.
And Victor is saying, Tina, it's been happening to me. I know my grandma been feeling her holding my hand, my arm. Sorry.
Wonderful. Spirit can give you the impression that they're touching you. They're not. It feels like it, but it's energy, guys. Okay. So you can feel them holding your hands. It happens all the time with my healing sessions because Spirit's extremely active in my center. I have to tell you a story. Last week we did I have trance healing every Thursday. We practice transcommunication, trance healing, all forms of trance. Well, last week was healing. And I had a young man on a table. And I had one person at his head, and there was another individual standing next to him. And when he closed his eyes, that's what he had envisioned. There was one person next to him and one at the head. He didn't know I took the person that was next to him and put him in another room. So we proceed with the trance healing. This young man is getting healing by Spirit. Okay. After the session, he asked me, he says, can I talk to that individual? He said that, he touched me inappropriately on my hand and leg. And it made me uncomfortable. And I want to tell him that. And I'm like, sure, that's okay. But I'm thinking there's nobody standing next to you, but okay. So I called the other individual over from the other room. And this young man's proceeding to tell him that he felt it was inappropriate. And the guy's face, Scott, he was bewildered and he was laughing. He goes, I wasn't standing next to you. I was in the other room. It wasn't me touching you. It was Spirit. You should have seen the kid's face. It was priceless. He's like, what? I tell people that they're going to get touched in my center by Spirit. They don't believe me. And when it happens, it blows their minds, and crazy. I love working with Spirit. So much fun. And they have a sense of humor too.
Yeah, and I was going to say her center has so much more energy there, higher energy, stronger energy than it does at Everything Just Rocks. Not a bad thing
Yeah, it's just
for
different.
energy in Everything Just Rocks, but you work so much out of there and you build up that energy on a daily basis. So it's fantastic.
Yeah, we've got it's a highly charged center. It's funny. When I in 2018 I was working out of a thrift store in Cave Creek doing my Saturday classes. It was a perfect place because they had a separate room. It just worked out wonderful. As I'm driving home from that Saturday class in 2018, Spirit's like, you need a plan B. I go, no, this works fine. I love this place. No, you need a plan B. Build it and they will come, is what they told me. I'm like, okay, how corny is that? You could have picked something other than Field of Dreams, guys. My guides have a sense of humor because I think I have a sense of humor, so that's probably why. And so I'm like, okay. So I come home and I talk to my husband. He goes, well, we'll just clear out the garage. I've been trying for years to get him to clear out the garage. And now he's like, well, we'll just clear it out. I'm like, okay. Well, that Monday, that was a Saturday. That Monday, I'm in class down in Tempe, and I had 2 men appear in my class. And at this time, this was 2018. This was several years ago before we had a lot of people starting getting into the spiritual movement. And it was just unusual for me to have 2 heterosexual guys show up in my class out of the blue that just didn't really fit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm telling them this story, and they go, well, we'll build the center for you. We'll just do a barter. We'll take your mediumship classes, which were hardly anything, right? And we'll build your center. They used to build movie sets. They built the set for The Voice. They used to do video sets for rock stars, and they just appeared, right? So they built my center in Cave Creek, and then they just disappeared.
Whoa, wow.
And then my neighbor called me and she goes, hey, we just remodeled our restaurant. Do you need any chairs for your center? I got 30 purple chairs for free in my center. So this is how Spirit works. If they want you to do something, it's going to come together. You just have to pay attention to the signs and just lean into it and trust. Have faith and trust. Yeah. That's how I got my center anyway.
Yeah, I love it. And it wasn't just her building the energy all this time. It was Spirit put the energy in there to begin with.
Yeah,
it's a good base.
And it was them. It was crazy because one time I was meditating and I felt all these eyes on me, and I opened up my eyes and my whole center was standing room only with Spirit, right? And I'm like, and I had to laugh. I go, build it and you will come. Guys, you don't pay the bills. I need people. I said, Spirit, I mean, unless you bring people that can pay the bills, that would help me tremendously, guys. So this is a teaching center, and this is for Spirit. This center is for Spirit, and we benefit from it by coming here. But I know that my center here teaches guides, teaches people. I know that the healings that I do, my healing team teaches the person's healing team how to best work with them. So they get schooled when they come here for a healing. And I've seen it over and over again because the healers that have come in sometimes go home with my clients and continue working with them. So this is an unusual center. I really do believe that.
And Kokomo says, my mom and sister passed unexpectedly, and everywhere I go live, I guess, I have light flicker on and off, or in my kitchen area, I always feel like someone is knocking on the fridge to get my attention.
Well, you know what? You ought to study the Fox sisters, because the Fox sisters, they started out, they were one of the original people in the movement, the spiritual movement in the 1850s, 1860s, 70s, around there. Anyway, the Fox sisters were the original ones that got wrappings.
You okay?
Study them. because you can talk to them and ask them, like, knock once for no, twice for yes, something like that. Or you can do an alphabet. That's where the spirit board, they call it a Ouija board, which I don't like, but that's where a spirit board has come into play, is through the wrappings of the Fox sisters. So the Fox sisters, I believe, gosh, were they in New York or Ohio, one of those places? And their family rented a home, old farm, and the sisters would hear knockings at night. So they started talking up to these taps, and it got to the point where they could communicate with spirit through these taps. And what eventually happened is the sisters found out that there was a traveling salesman that was buried in the basement of the home that they were renting. And they, sure enough, they found him. They dug him up. He was murdered. He was buried there. And so they solved a mystery, a murder mystery, by the spirit coming through by rapping, and the sisters just listening. So when you're in the kitchen, talk to him and say, if this is you, tap once for yes, or twice for no, whatever, however you want to do it, and just keep talking to him. And I'm sure that he'll find a way of getting through to let you know that he's around. Another way that they can come through is by smell. Clairalience. That's a different clair. You know, you've heard of clairvoyance. Clairalience is smell. So, for example, one of the times I knew my mom was around was because I smelled perfume and cigarette smoke. My grandmother comes through with bacon and eggs because that was my favorite grandmother for cooking me a breakfast. So they can come through with smells to get your attention. So pay attention to that too.
Yep. And thank you
Sisters, New York. Thank you.
That was Bonnie again.
I knew it was one of those. It was either New York or Ohio, one of those.
One back east. Okay. And going back to the feelings. So all that hair, cobwebs, who's touching me, everything happens to me like all the time. Almost makes sense.
I don't know if we're frozen, Julie, but I'm still going to go ahead with it. Yeah, the touching and that, if you get that all the time, that's spirit. Just talk to them. Okay. Just ask them if this is spirit, make it stronger, or if it makes you uncomfortable, say, if this is spirit, please step away from me. This is too much for me to handle.
Can you hear me at all? Can you hear me? You can't hear me?
So you have those feelings in your chest a lot. Yeah, that's probably your guides stepping in close to you that's causing that heart disruption.
Tina, can you hear me? I guess she can't hear me.
I don't know if I'm still on.
You are still on. Okay.
But Julie is locked up. So I guess I'll just keep going as if she was here.
I am here. Wow. Okay. I don't know what's going on, guys, but can you guys hear me? Can anybody hear me? You can't.
Okay, you can hear Julie. Okay. So anyway, yeah, we just have to look for signs. There's all kinds of signs all over. Spirit is constantly trying to get our attention, but sometimes it's hard. Especially if you don't acknowledge them, guys, because they're out there and they're like, hey, here I am. Do you see me? Come on. Or do you feel me? Oh, I'm going to poke you. Did you feel that? Well, they didn't feel that. So I'm going to back away as a spirit, thinking I can't get through to you. But if you feel a sensation, like, for example, for the longest time, I had a pressure in my right scapula. I thought it was something physical. I went to physical therapy. I went to doctors. It wasn't painful, but it was a pressure. And it was all the time. It was on and off all the time. Well, I found out it was my Native American guide that has come through. And every time, he pushes on my scapula. So that's his calling card. I call it calling cards, guys. How a guide comes in and touches in with you and you feel it. To me, that's a calling card. For example, when I do inspired speaking, I feel it more on the left side of my head. Okay. When I do trance healing, I feel the energy in my back, and then it comes over my head and engulfs my head. And it feels like somebody stuck a bowl of mud on my head, and it just slowly goes down till it gets right about here. And then it just sort of stops. So there are a lot of physical sensations that you can get from working with spirit if you're tuned into it and you're paying attention. For many years in my career, I only saw. I'm clairvoyant and I only saw. I did not feel. And I went to Tombstone to do the Tombstone Morgue seance, and I picked up a spirit attachment. And the spirit attachment gave me the awareness of what it feels like to feel spirit around you. My gatekeeper allowed the spirit to come in, allowed it to influence in my energy field, so I felt disrupted. And that's what I call by a spirit attachment. And so once I was able to acknowledge that and remove that from my field, I started feeling spirit at that point. So that was the catalyst for me to feel spirit. In the beginning, I didn't. I just saw. I am an empath, though, so I do feel energies, but I just didn't feel spirit. And then once I had that attachment and I started noticing sensations in my body, that's when I started playing with it. Is like, if this is spirit, please make it stronger. Or if it was too uncomfortable, I'd say, if this is spirit, please reduce this. This is too much for me. And so anyway, that's how I started playing with everything. And to me, this is a big experiment. I'm constantly experimenting with energies, with spirit, to see what I can do and what they can do with me. See, one thing that we tend to lose sight of is we are of service to spirit and God. And to me, that's a sacred thing. I take it very seriously. And so I constantly ask God and spirit what I can do to be of service. What can I do to help you on the other side? And so that's where I'm saying I'm a conduit, I'm a vessel. I don't do the healing. God and spirit, they do the healing. And so anyway, it's a very sacred thing to be able to do this work. I'm trying to read this. I'm sure that my late husband leaves signs. He leaves coins all over my house and sends me cardinals, etc. The night I asked my husband to show me a sign clearly, and that was the night my bedroom lamp started flickering very fast. I know it was him. Yeah. When you start asking and communicating and they start coming through like that, that is wonderful. Native American guide stand on Tina's left side, ATM.
At the moment.
Okay. Are you seeing my guide, Victor? Is that what you're seeing? My guide is Red Feather, and it's interesting. I'll tell you the story on how I got my guide. It was quite interesting. I'm doing a medicine blanket ceremony, and I don't know if you know what that is, but basically that is a ceremony, a Native American ceremony where you get your medicine blanket. It's a blanket that you wrap up in when you get ill and you don't feel good. So this ceremony is done in a big clearing area where there's a big wagon wheel made out of rocks. So you have the spokes and the center hub, and it's all in rocks. It's a big area. So what you do is you lay down 7 blankets. I lay in the middle, and I pick 2 people that come in, and they wrap me up in these blankets. The blanket that's touching my skin is my medicine blanket. But during this ceremony, you're wrapped up like a burrito. Don't do it in the middle of the summer like I did. It was unbearable. It was hot. And it's crazy. I had these vultures flying around me as I'm laying on the ground. I'm like, oh yeah, that's a sign. Anyway, what happens is people will go around the outside of the wagon wheel and they'll chant your name and they'll play a drum. And to me, it was a little woo-woo, but I was going along with it. I was a little uncomfortable, and I'm there in the blanket. And the first thing that comes in my mind is the movie The Proposal with Betty White as she's dancing around the fire pit with Sandra Bullock. And it's comical. And I'm like, what am I doing? This is crazy. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm there. I'm all wrapped up. And they're all my friends and family. They're chanting around and drumming. And all of a sudden, boom, I see this Native American face right there. And I'm like, okay, I have a Native American guide coming in, a Native American spirit. He told me he was my guide, and he said his name was Red Feather. I'm like, okay. So after the medicine wheel ceremony is over, I go home. The next day, I decide I'm going to meditate because I want more information from Red Feather. And so he gave me more information. He fought in Little Bighorn. He was a warrior. He was a Lakota Sioux Indian. Well, prior to this ceremony, a friend had gifted me a flute. And this was a Native American flute. And I'm not musical. I don't play. So I was just going to hang it on the wall as decoration. Well, after that ceremony, I felt compelled to pick up that flute. So I just started picking it up. And honestly, I started playing it, which shocked me that I could actually play it and somebody would want to listen to it. Every time that I tried to study the music with the flute, I couldn't play. It sounded terrible. But when I just let it organically flow, it sounded really good. So fast forward a couple months, I'm at a psychic fair and I'm playing this flute in between clients. And this gentleman walks up to me and he goes, I make flutes for a living. He said, can I see your flute? And I go, sure. I know nothing about it. So he looks at it and he goes, well, it's an F key, which is for the heart. And he then proceeded to tell me that it was a Lakota Sioux flute, which is the Native American guide that I got during the medicine wheel ceremony, which has been with me forever because my right scapula has always had pressure. And it's been him all along. So now I can play a Native American flute. And it's not too bad. I'm surprised, but I can't read a lick of music. Every time I try to study flute music, I just don't do it. It just doesn't happen. So, yeah, there is something magical about the flute. The flute is just unbelievable. I love my flute. Anyway, so that's how my Native American guide came with my medicine blanket, and I can play a flute now. I have also done transcommunication with a Native American, and he was Lakota Sioux. I'm not sure if he was my guide because this happened years ago. And he was able to take control of my voice and speak through me. It sounded like my voice, of course, but he spoke through me, and it was Native American. I didn't know anything that I said. And so there is an influence there. And the reason that why we have Native American guides in such an abundance is because they are a spiritual nation. And it's been that way for hundreds of years, to where they're very connected to spirit. So all of those natives that have crossed over and are very spiritual, they sometimes choose to be guides for us, and that's how we get guides. It's a choice. It's not something that's mandatory when they cross over that they have to be guides. The guides are actually choosing to work with you, to work with me, and what an honor that they're doing that. They don't have to, but they're choosing to. So that's why I say we are service to spirit, because they're making a sacrifice. They're putting their soul experiences on hold to be able to help us while we're incarnated in this lifetime and lifetimes to come. So what an honor it is to work with our guides. So when you start honoring them and start working with them, knowing that it's a privilege It changes the dynamics, and they're able to work with you more. Do a trance medium for the collective of what the Native American like to say to us. That would, for me to go into trance, for me to sit and go into trance communication, I'm not sure if a Native American would even come through. But for me, it would take me probably 10 minutes of sitting to get into that altered state, 5 to 10 minutes. I know with my trance healing, it can take me 5 to 10 minutes to get into the altered state where spirit has a hold of me and I'm out of the way. So let me talk a little bit about trance healing, and because that is the majority of my work besides the teaching. Trance healing is where I go into an altered state called a trance state, and spirit works through my energy to do healing on the person that's on my massage table in front of me. Now, how I do trance healing is unorthodox. I am spirit taught. And so this is how my team, my guides, my healers work with me. And they're bringing in a facet of physical mediumship along with that, because I sit in complete darkness when I do healing. So what you could expect is if you come in my center for healing, first of all, I don't time my healings. My healing sessions can last up to 2 hours, depending on what happens. But we sit, we talk a little bit about what's going on with you. And sometimes I get downloads of what can help you with your healing journey, give you some tools, because I'm all about enabling you. I'm not a spiritual enabler. So I'm not going to do everything for you and you have no skin in the game. Right. There is no easy button in my center for healing. You have to do work too, if you want the healing. So what happens, you'll come in, we'll talk a little bit, and then I'll put you on a massage table. I have a healing room, and I close the doors, close the curtains, and I have a little firelight left on and a little aurora borealis guy that shines on the ceiling. So it's dimly lit. I have music playing, and what happens is I will play the crystal bowls over you to align your energy centers. And then I sit down and I turn the lights out. It's done in complete darkness. And I go into trance, an altered state called trance. Spirit will hold me there for about an hour. When I'm in trance, I am completely gone. I know nothing about what's happening in the room. They take me away. I don't see anything. I feel a ton because I feel the spirit doctors coming through me. I feel their energy traveling and passing through me, or in my auric field. But they're working on the person on the massage table. And it gets so physical, it feels physical to the person on the table, that they may get manipulated, they may be moved, they may be adjusted, they may feel all kinds of sensations, or they may not feel anything. It just depends. Sometimes spirit will put them in such an altered state that they feel like they're in a twilight. Other times, some people can really see things and feel things. It just varies on the person. But once spirit is done, they pull me back out of the trance, and then I bring the person back that's on the table. And then we talk about their experiences. So I do set people up to let them know there is a good possibility that they're going to feel like they're getting touched. And don't be scared. Because it's your spirit healers coming in to work on you. This is your connection with your team and your healers combined with my healers. So my healers teach your healers what they're doing to you, so that when you go home, your healers have the knowledge that my healing team has that they've given your healing team. So I teach you how to work with your own healers so you don't need someone like me in the future. Now, of course, the work that I've done, my healing team is extremely strong and powerful. It takes time to get to that level. And I've been doing it for years and hundreds of thousands of hours of sitting. It will take some time to build them up. But I know I've had people that have gone home and their healing team, they feel them. They start working with them. And I have some people that do it religiously every day because they live in chronic pain, and this chronic pain helps them, the healing works with them. Tina, would trance be considered channeling? Yeah. So the American word that we use is channeling. The world uses trance communication. And there's varying degrees of that. Okay. There's light trance all the way into a very deep trance state. And a lot of this is misunderstood because when you see someone that sits down and immediately starts talking, they haven't given the process time. They haven't given the trance process. You haven't given time for spirit to take a hold of that person. So they're doing more inspired speaking, which is also considered channeling, but it's a different level. When I talk about trance communication, it can get to the level to where spirit can take a hold of that medium, control that medium to a degree, to where the medium steps away and that spirit is truly communicating and the medium knows nothing of what's happened. To me, that's the purest form of transcommunication. Now, there are levels of that depending on their development, and everybody's divinely perfect on their path. I'm not judging because there's so many different levels and development of trance. Okay. And it's just misunderstood, unfortunately. A lot of the trance work is misunderstood here in the States. And that's one thing that I do want to get out. I do hold a lot of classes here on trance so that you can understand it. To me, trance is the closest connection I can get to God and spirit. And it is a natural state. Trance is all natural. Meditation's man-made. So when you sit in trance, and let's say, to me, sitting in trance, sitting in the power, which is sitting with God's source, is bliss, euphoria. And it does recharge your vessels. So if you ever feel energetically off to where you need to be recharged, sit in the power. If you want to start your spiritual journey and you really want a good foundation, to me, sitting in the power, sitting for the blend, meditating, quiet time is extremely important if you want to cultivate your work. What are some of the things? I'm still frozen. Okay. Yeah, you're still frozen. I can't, you're just frozen.
You can't
I'm
hear
sorry.
me.
I'm out here talking and I hope everybody's hearing. Okay, can you hear me, Victor? Okay. Well, what else can I talk about? What would you guys like to hear? We're taking a break. Okay.
Can you see me?
I don't see anything right now. It's black.
Oh my. Okay.
Black.
That's because you're on your phone. Okay.
Oh,
so
you want me to get off the phone?
Hopefully that's all it is, because you went black a couple times and it lasted a while, just a little bit. And that's right before you said I was frozen. So that's why I wanted to get off for a second and do this. But yeah. Okay. So I'm going to hang up. You're going to hang up and go back to, yeah. You can you see it right now?
I'm on. I see the green screen, but it says live and it's all black. I see the comments popping up, but it's black.
Okay. All right. Sounds
maybe
good.
once the phone goes off, I'll see you.
Hopefully. Okay. Thanks. Bye. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Hello?
I can hear you, but I can't see you at all.
Well, at least you can hear me now.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, that's what I was talking about, guys. If she can't hear me, then I can't help her with what's going on with you guys. Okay.
Now, do you see me at all, Julie?
Yes, I can see you. I can hear you.
Okay, good. I can't see anything, so I'll just go with the flow.
Okay. Well, I'll keep posting. Well, you can hear me now.
Yeah, I can hear you.
That's the good thing. But can you see the chat at all?
I can see the chat on the right-hand side, but I stopped seeing it.
Can you move it over? Oh, okay.
See. Let me do sideways here. I've got it sideways.
Okay, let's go. I mean, we can see you still.
Let me look at the camera here. No, back. Yeah, I lost all visual.
Other than the chat. You still have the chat though, right?
The last thing I don't see anything going across. I just see off to the right. And the last thing I see where it says Victor, it sounds great. Okay, I can hear and see both of you.
Can you see that? Can you see down below?
Chat can bug out on Restream, Victor wrote.
Okay. Just want to make sure at least you can hear me now. So that helps. Okay.
Yeah, unless you want me to sign off and sign back in.
No, I think we'll be fine.
Okay.
When I was frozen, you couldn't hear me or see me. That's a problem.
Yeah, I could just see you frozen.
All right. Yeah, you don't need to see me. I'm good. I know it happened when I guested. What? Okay.
Okay.
Not sure what you meant there. Okay, let's go back to I know you were finishing about chance. Oh, okay. Okay. How do you recommend trance? I know I've experienced it, but I don't have control.
Okay. So what I would do, sitting in trance it's a mind focus. It's quieting your mind. Okay. So if you can sit in silence and allow your mind to go into that altered state to where your body, just slows down. It's just a matter of practicing it. Spirit taught me through meditations. What was happening was I would meditate every day, and I would be aware of the beginning of the music, and then I would be gone, and then Spirit would bring me back right at the end, right when it was going to stop. So then I knew, I didn't know I was going into trance, but that they were taking me into trance and teaching me trance that way. What I would do is sitting in the power is a good trance exercise, and sitting for the blend also. Sitting for the blend is when you allow Spirit to come in and blend with you. Those are two separate functions. So if you could work on doing that, and once you start having some success with that, then I would sit quietly and with the intention of going into the altered state of trance, and just keep practicing that until you get a good grasp on that. Okay. I hope that helped.
Yeah, we'll see if you've got it. And Harley was asking if you could see this. It's recent. Yeah. Her chat is doing fine. It's easier when I post it, I think, maybe. And what was the other? Oh, KK, are you still here? KK came in, and KK is Carrie. Carrie owns five horses in Oregon. And we keep
Oh, okay.
trying to get a hold of you to talk about horse healing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Horse healing is amazing. I work with horses, and it's done through a spiritual way. It's not done in the traditional therapy way that a lot of places are doing with their horses. So for me, what I do with the horse healing, I have two different programs. One is a private session where you will come to my stable. You'll halter the horse, brush the horse, saddle the horse, and then we'll trailer to a nearby destination, and we will ride for about hour or 2 hours, and then I lay down a blanket in between the two horses. Obviously we get off and we tie the horses up, and we put a blanket between the two horses. And at that point, whatever session you want is what we'll do. And if it's healing, the horses will work on you no matter what. And what the horses do is they'll take your energy that isn't serving you, and they transmute it through their body, and then they release it. Since you have five horses, you know that when a horse yawns, if they yawn continuously, that's an unusual characteristic. That's not normal for horses to do that. So my horses, after they work on someone, they will stand there and they will release 6, 7, 8 times in a row. They're yawning. And their yawn is big. They stretch out their head, their neck, their ears pin back, their eyes roll when they yawn. It's that intense of a yawn. And they'll do that, like I said, multiple times, which is very unusual for a horse. And so that's how I call it, transmute the energy out of their body. So that's a private session I do, and that's about a half a day session. And it's very involved, and you're in the horse energy. And the whole time you're in the horse energy, I'm watching how the horse is responding to you, because it tells me a lot about you. If you don't have boundaries, you're going to have a hard time riding a horse, because they will feel that and they will walk all over you, just like people do in the real world. So those are things that I look for. Now, another way I do it is I do horse healing clinics where I'll have up to 14 people, and it's an all-day event. And I put up a massage table in my barn, and the horses walk around freely. We do meditations with the horses. But one of the things that I do is you're on a massage table, and I'm doing a chakra tune-up on you, a mini chakra tune-up. And the horse is around working on you. And they have a tendency to go right to the spot where you have a problem. And what they'll do is might lick it or like take their lips and nibble on you a little bit there. They don't bite, but they do some work there, and then they stop, and then they go off and they start yawning. So that's what they do during the horse healing clinics. And those I do a couple times a year because of the weather here. I try to make it so that it's comfortable for everybody. And between the flies and the heat, I really have to strategically put the clinics in at the right time. So, but that's my horse healing. And then I also do a specialized. If somebody wants a mixture with a healing session and going out and just being around the horses, we do something like that. But I am working on some new types of healing, including the horse. So stay tuned for that. I haven't posted it yet, but that's something that I'm working on privately until I get it figured out on how it's going to work completely with the horse and what I'm doing with the healing. That's when I'll start advertising it. But I love horse energy. It is so healing.
Yeah.
I hope that answered your question with the horse healing.
Well, and we've been encouraging her to get in contact with you and talk. KK, are you out in the barn right now watching the horses? She usually goes out there to meditate.
Oh, wonderful. That's a great energy out there. Great energy.
And yes, she has cats and other things, other animals. But
The only cat I have is a bobcat because they eat all the kitty cats. So it's the Wild West out here where you have mountain lions, bobcats, javelina, coyotes, snakes. So yeah, I tried having kitty cats at my barn, having a barn cat, and I had no idea that bobcats eat cats. I felt so bad after I got those feral kitties. I'm not going to do it anymore.
Yeah. And you have some dogs. You have a Australian healer, right?
I have a cattle dog. She's a red healer.
Red healer on.
Yeah, they have blue healers and red healers.
Okay.
Just watch the cartoon Bluey.
Yeah.
That's where they come from.
What was
Down
the big feet?
Pardon?
Kevin put it big feet question mark, so I wasn't sure what that. And Don is saying good morning to you both. Great to see Tina on the live.
Good morning. Good
Blessed
morning.
day to you both. So
Thank you.
he's on my personal Facebook,
Oh, okay.
and they don't blend it in. I'm inside right now, but I'll be heading down there soon. Yeah.
To the barn. Okay.
Yeah.
So during the break, I got my flute. This is the flute that was gifted to me, guys. And this is the one that I started playing. And I just channel this Native American guide through my flute, I guess. But this is the handmade flute. It's a little unusual. And anyway, it's a beautiful flute. This one's a little temperamental. It used to travel everywhere with me, but it does not like the cold weather. So when I went to Scotland, it really retaliated on me. It just did not sound good. I don't play this one as much. I've got another flute which has a throatier, beefier, heavy sound that I like. This one's temperamental, but I'll try and play it a little bit. So that's what this one is. This is an F key, and that's the flute. But my friend gifted it to me, and she actually bought it from the actor on Wind Talkers, the Navajo Code Talkers, that movie. The flute player sold this flute to my friend. And she had paperwork on it and everything, but she didn't get me the paperwork before she crossed. But yeah, she bought this flute from him, which I thought was very interesting.
Yep. So did you want to play that? Okay. Sorry,
I did play it. Did you not hear it?
I heard a little bit of it. Yeah. I had to turn my mic off for a little bit. Okay. Louie, your granddaughter's contribution.
I have to sit and watch cartoons with my granddaughters. I like Bluey compared to the other ones that they like to watch.
And the picture you see there on KK, can you see her picture at all? I posted.
I see a horse head, but not much.
It's a horse head. Yes. It's a horse head.
It's really hard to see on my phone.
Okay. Yeah. It's small anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's one of her 5. So.
Well, KK, let me tell you a little story. I with horses. Always loved horses as a child, never had a horse, always wanted a horse. When I was 23, I got a horse. I had the horse for 6 months. I was just learning how to ride a horse and how to take care of a horse and things like that. And my mom decided to get a horse. So she bought a horse, and we were out in Tucson, out by old Tucson, where they filmed all the Westerns. And we were riding one October evening. It was October 6th. And my mom's horse took off running, and she lacerated her liver on the saddle horn and died. And I was there with her when that accident happened. That rocked my world. Totally just devastated me, knocked me to my knees. But a week prior to that week, my mom took me out for lunch, and we had this discussion, which I thought was very unusual. She had been married 2 years. I had been married for 5 years at that time. And she told me that she put me on her checking account so that if anything happened to her, I would take care of her husband named Howie. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that. I don't like the man. And she's like, promise me you'll take care of him if anything happens. I'm like, okay, whatever, I'll do it. That Friday, she died. Her higher self knew that she was going to check out. And that's why we went out to lunch, and that's why she instructed me of what to do. Which to me, it was sort of, I wasn't really in tune with my psychic abilities at that point to read that maybe something was going to happen. I didn't really think about it. And so anyway, when it happened, when she died, like I said, it was devastating. I was there when it happened. I did ride one time after that, shortly after that week. I rode my horse, and then I sold absolutely everything and swore I'd never get back into horses again. Fortunately for me, God had a different design. And in 91, I had lost my brother. He had died of AIDS. I helped him transition, I helped my mom transition. And had no intentions of ever getting a horse, but I bought a house with horse property for resale value in Tucson. And long story short, the neighbor around the corner had a horse, and my son was about a year old, and I walked down there and asked if I could feed carrots to the horse. And she said, sure, and I just gave her my name. You know, mind you, at this time, the internet wasn't really big, and cell phones weren't really used. And so anyway, 2 weeks pass, and I get a phone call out of the blue from my neighbor, who I didn't know, and she asked if I wanted to go to a horse auction in Benson. My husband forced me to go, said I need to get out. I stay home too much. So I went, and as we're talking on the drive down, this is synchronicities. This is how God works. We're talking, and she's telling me that she lost her brother. And I go, yeah, I just recently lost my brother too. She goes, yeah, I lost my brother to AIDS. I go, I just lost my brother to AIDS. Wow. She looked at me and she goes, was he a blonde-haired kid that liked science fiction and was at the VA hospital? I go, yeah. She goes, she met him. She volunteered at the library cart, and he used to get library books from her when he was in the hospital to read. She told me that if I got a horse, I could keep it at her house. I had no intentions of getting a horse. But a few months later, I had a horse at her house. That's how God works. God knew that I needed the horse to help heal my soul from the accident. And so I got back into horses, and I've had them ever since. And they have helped heal me. It's the only connection I still have with my mom, because we would go horseback riding together. And to this day, sometimes she still joins me on the trail. I'll see her on a horse in front of me. I do play my flute during the trail rides, so it is a magical thing when you're riding through the desert. But I definitely respect horses. I respect the power that they have. I'm extremely cautious rider. It has not deterred me. I've had accidents since then, and it has not deterred me. I still ride horses to this day, even though I've had fatality. But it's part of my soul. It's what heals me. It's what makes me feel good. So that's something that will always be in my life. These are the last two horses I think I'll have, because I think they'll get me into my 80s. And then I don't think I'll be quite so physical as much as I am now. But anyway, that's my horse story. That's the history of my horse story.
I don't know if you read what KK wrote, Hearing That Flute.
No.
I just had a pop-up memory pop up of the Indian riding the white horse with blue eyes from Dances with the Wolves.
Oh, yeah.
That horse's name was Blue. He ended up at a horse rescue by my college.
Oh, wow.
That, yeah.
How amazing. I mean, yeah, I had a horse, Bob. He was 32 when he died. And he was my savior. He saved me. He helped heal me. He helped heal my soul from the accident. He was a very, very good horse.
And this was KK's reaction for the story that you told about your mom.
Yeah.
And the brother and all of that.
Yeah, it was it was a really tough time for me. It really knocked me to my knees. And you know, to lose my mom abruptly, and then my brother was dying of AIDS. And back then there was a stigma attached to it. You know, people didn't want to touch anybody with AIDS, or I was criticized because I had a son that was 10 months old, and I would take my son. This, you know, he was integral with my brother. In fact, I named my son after my brother. So it was a really difficult time at that point. When people at work found out that my brother had AIDS, they treated me differently. So, you know, part of the journey of being a medium and the work that we do, I don't know too many people that have not had trauma. And I think that makes us more sensitive to energies, to be able to read things and see things. We're definitely, most of the people that do this work are empathic because of trauma that they've experienced in their life. It's a rarity that I find a light worker that has not had trauma. I'll be honest with you. Most people have had some type of trauma, and that's what's propelled them into this work.
This is KK. I'm the only one in my immediate family who has horses. Horses have always been the ones that I turn to when I'm in need after everything shaking lifetime event. Every shaking lifetime event. So
Yeah, horses
her
are
trauma
very
healer
healing.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, they're. I mean, I just I can't imagine my life without horses. I really can't. And in fact, my husband, one time when I was pregnant with my second child, I couldn't ride. The doctor said I couldn't ride, which made me mad. But then my husband's like, "Well, we'll just get rid of him. You're not riding him." And I'm like, "I'm not riding him because you've got me pregnant." He said, "Don't ever talk about getting rid of my horses again because we will wind up in divorce."
Yes.
And I was serious. And so anyway, I've had horses since I was 23. I am now 61. That's how long I've.
Yep. So, so you were going to choose your horses over your husband.
Yep, if push came to shove.
And he knew you were
Serious? Yes.
extremely serious about that.
Yeah. He never said anything again.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that is non-negotiable.
Yeah.
And he's been a sport through all this, I have to say, because he didn't know I liked horses. He married me, and then all of a sudden I get into horses. He didn't know that I was a psychic and a medium, because I didn't know. And so he's been on this crazy roller coaster ride with me of the spiritual work that I do. And he's been very supportive of it. So I've been very blessed. Of course, I've been married 41 years, so.
I was going to say, he's a great cook too.
Oh, unbelievable cook. Yeah, and when we have our retreat, I'm going to be doing a retreat in October with Kaz Dukes of Acorn Academy in England. And we're going to be putting on a retreat in this area. He is going to be the cook. He will be making homemade food.
Excellent. Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You have a great household there. I mean, it's in a beautiful area, very desert, desert. And I know you get, I don't know if it's mountain lions or what you get over there, but you get coyotes too.
I get mountain lions, coyotes, bobcats, javelina, and rattlesnakes.
And rattlesnakes. Oh boy.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a few things that go to the light when they come on my property, and I put it out there to the universe. No rattlesnakes, scorpions, cockroaches, mosquitoes, and flies. All of those things will go to the light if they come in my property.
So how's the mosquitoes right now for you?
bad. With all this rain that we've had, they have been bad.
Yeah. And that's
And I have grass, and I have a small patch of grass in my backyard, which no, we don't get Bigfoot, but we have chupacabras. Kevin.
yeah,
Yeah,
mosquitoes bad throughout the area. It's not just one area that's hit with it. The entire Arizona with the rain we've had.
Yeah.
And
we had almost 4 inches of rain up here in one weekend.
Yeah. And that's unheard of. I think the last time was probably in the 1980 itself.
Yeah. What people don't understand is our ground is very, very hard here. So when water hits it, it doesn't soak in like it does back east. So it runs off, and that's why we have flash floods.
Right.
And they're serious. You know, I don't ride when it's raining in the mountains and that. I won't ride in a wash because it will come through.
Yeah. Now, I do my best to run every day, and I was doing running during the flash flood, but in areas that I wouldn't have to be concerned about it. However, there is one area that I went through after the rain, and I could see the difference.
Oh, yeah.
It is just humongous. Lots of ditches that weren't there before, and they're pretty deep too. So,
yeah, the terrain changes every time it rains.
Yeah. And when you go riding, you get deep into the area. So, what changes have you seen since the rain?
Oh, well, every time there's one area that I ride to, it's called Blue Wash, and there's a waterfall there.
Oh, wow.
And every time I go there, it's a different way of getting back there.
Oh.
From when I started going there years ago, it's completely different than what it is now. Where before I could just ride my horse up to the waterfall, no problem. Now there's huge boulders that we have to navigate around.
Wow.
I remember the first time I went to that waterfall in Blue Wash. I went there with a friend, and I start riding up to the wash, and I can't breathe. And I'm feeling, I mean, all this sadness. I mean, it was overwhelming, and I couldn't breathe. I had to leave. I couldn't stay at the waterfall. And I found out that there was a flash flood. It went through Cave Creek, and there was a grandfather holding his granddaughter, and she ripped out of his arms, and they found her at that waterfall.
Oh,
miles away. And that's what I was picking up on, was her residual energy. It was just engulfing. I had to leave.
But you've been back since.
I've been back since, and I haven't. It hasn't hit me. But I've seen Native Americans back there. The very old tribe lived in this area, and I've seen them back there before. That's the first time going back there. Is the first time I got attacked by a rattlesnake. I was on a trail, and this Mojave rattlesnake came out, green Mojave, which they're aggressive, they're cantankerous, they're mean. And it came out on the trail and started coming down at me. And I had to turn my horse around and get away. That's when I decided to get my dog snake trained. And that's when I decided to carry a gun with me, just in case I run into something that I shouldn't be involved in. Well, also the first time I ran across the crystal meth lab out in the middle of nowhere, that's when I really started carrying a gun.
In the desert while you were riding horse?
Yeah. Yeah. They just sort of pop up in the middle of nowhere. You know, where I ride is very secluded. I don't like to be around people. So you're going to run into those pockets of, you know, people that aren't up to good things.
And that don't want to be around other people as well, right?
Right.
Do you see something?
Hang on a second. My door just blew open. The wind
Oh, wow. That's unusual. Somebody's saying something to her.
No, because when the door blows open, everybody comes in from the house into my center because they want to be in here.
Oh,
All the dogs, all the grandkids, everything. Yeah, everybody wants to be in here because it's a Zen space.
yeah. I thought you were seeing something above your head, some spirits.
No. It was my door blew open for some reason.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So first time you saw a javelina mesmerism, yeah. They were like dogs without. Yeah, the only thing is about javelina is they can be aggressive. You have to watch out for them because they don't see well, and they will shred a dog in nothing flat. Yeah, so I worry more about the javelina with my dog than I do the coyotes.
And don't they travel in packs?
They do, yeah,
Okay.
and they stink really bad.
Yeah. Where a coyote is a lone coyote. You've heard of a
Well,
lone wolf?
they
They
travel in
have.
packs too. You just don't see them.
Don't see the rest of them. Yeah, I thought it
Yeah,
was more the wolves travel more in packs than that. I always
no,
see a lone coyote when I see it.
you might see a lone coyote, but there are others not far behind.
Okay. Well, this is in the city
Yeah. Oh, there's
because
probably one then. Yeah, we get them. We get
yeah,
a lot out here.
I even saw one crossing the freeway the other day on the 202. It's like, what are you doing out here? So hopefully you got to
Hmm.
the other side okay, but you never know. Okay.
Do we have any questions or anything? I feel
Yep.
like I've just been rambling.
No, you're not rambling. They're just mesmerized with your stories and all. And
Oh,
it,
I got lots of stories.
yeah, I just can't believe you found it. I know that a lab like that would just. I'm glad you got through it okay. I'm
Yeah,
so glad.
luckily I was with 5 other riders, and we came across this travel trailer, and it had a no climb fence around it, and there was a couple pit bulls in there, and it was a shady looking older trailer, if you know what I
Wow.
mean. Yeah, and that was unnerving, because I always ride with someone. I never ride solo. But at that point, I realized I was, pretty vulnerable.
Yeah.
And so I carry a little pistol with me. It's a good visual deterrent. Thank goodness I've never had to use it. But it's always good. And another thing is when I ride in rural areas, if anything ever happened to my horse where I had to put it down and not have it suffer,
Yeah.
that's another thing I look at. If it broke a leg or something out on the trail, what would I do?
Yeah. Yeah. Have you trained your horses with the gun?
Bob, the horse that died when he was 32, I used to do mounted shooting with him. So I've done mounted shooting with the horses. Jewel, his sister, the red sorrel that I have, I've shot off of her, but she's been around some fire, but not to a large degree. So it would be like I would shoot once off of her, and then I'd probably be on the ground. So it's one of those things, I would never shoot unless I absolutely felt
Right.
threatened or had to.
Yeah. I just know that some people fire guns around them just to train them not to be.
Oh yeah. I've done that with mine, but the thing is, you have to keep doing it, and I haven't stayed up on it. So
Right.
if they hear a gunshot, I'm sure it would startle them, especially if it was off their back.
Yes, exactly.
Hmm. So, but yeah, no,
That's it.
the
But
but yeah, I mean, synchronicities. If you were to just pay attention to what spirit's wanting to say to you, you would be surprised at how often they can come through and communicate. So just pay attention to the signs, look at it. There's a whole nother world out there that people don't know about, and it's the spiritual world, and it's amazing. I just love working with spirit every single day. It's like, what amazing thing is spirit going to do today? It's
yes.
always something.
Yes, it is always something. What do we got?
Did you talk about your chakra healings? No, Pam. Hey, Pam, you're on. No, I did not talk about my chakra tune-ups.
And when are
Okay.
you coming?
Yeah,
When are
well,
you
she's
coming,
coming
Pam?
soon. She's coming out soon. She's a snowbird. She comes out here every winter.
Yeah, from
Love to have
Wisconsin.
her from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And my chakra tune-ups. Okay, chakra tune-ups is another thing that I do that was spirit taught to me. And it just sort of happened because I didn't work with tuning forks. I didn't work with crystal bowls or even crystals. But it
Mm-hmm.
just sort of morphed into that. And what happens, what's amazing about the chakra tune-ups, they take about 2.5 hours to do. And I use tuning forks all over your body, front and back. I have a set of chakra tuning forks, and I will use them all over your body. And I write a report, and the report has everywhere that I've placed a tuning fork on your body and everything that I see, feel, and hear on your body. So I read chakras in an unorthodox way. So, for example, the root chakra tells me what feeds your soul. So it'll play out like a movie in my mind of an activity that feeds your soul. If you don't have anything, it would be completely blocked. I won't see anything. Sacral chakra tends to be more about medical or security, things like that. Solar plexus, I see a percentage of what you use your intuition at. They just show me a percentage. Heart chakra, I can tell you trauma, if it's healing, if it's in a protective mode. There's lots of things that the heart tells me about. Throat chakra is pretty basic. It's about communication. Do you speak clearly? It will show me who you have blocks with sometimes. So you may speak clearly, but you hold your voice at work. So they would show me that. Third eye, I would be able to see if your clairvoyance is opened or not. And the crown tells me where you're most connected to God, source, creator. And again, that comes out like a movie in my mind. What's interesting about the back chakras is when I flip you over and I start working on your back chakras, that is a past life that you have pulled an essence into this lifetime that has created some concern in this lifetime. For example, I did a chakra tune-up on a woman, and I saw a past life where her family had been caught in a home fire and burned and died.
Wow.
Afterwards, she told me she's always had a fear about her house catching on fire, and she never knew why, because she'd never had a fire. She had brought an essence of that past life into this lifetime that needed to be healed. So I see past lives during a chakra tune-up. I will also scan your body to see if you have any energetic attachments, any spirit attachments, past life attachments. I clear up the auric field. I work with the gold Christ light during that time, and I can see all that in your auric field and in your body. So there's a lot of things that come up during a chakra tune-up that I see, feel, and hear. But what's nice is you get to go home with this report. And what's great about it is the team that works with me, they know it. They know meridian lines, acupressure, acupuncture points. Because if you were to look at my report and you look at there's a picture of like Alec Gray, where he has a picture of meridian lines in that. It's really pretty intriguing. My chakra tune-ups look very similar to that.
Mm-hmm.
And I do have people tell me that it has made a huge difference with them, especially spiritual people.
Yeah.
It shows his present room. Okay. But anyway, so that's a chakra tune-up, and I don't time them. Like I said, it's about 2.5 hours for a chakra tune-up. And that's where I see past lives. I had one past life that was confirmed. It was really cool. I did a chakra tune-up on a woman, and her past life, there was a Chinese ruler in 1400, and he was a ruler over a province. And I got a lot of detail on this particular person, and it was her past life. Well, she researched it, and there was actually a ruler called Fang, and he died the way that I saw it happen.
Wow.
That was her in a past life.
And you did a chakra tune-up on me 3 years ago,
Okay.
about in October. I didn't pull the chart, and it was really good. And yes, you found a past life for me as well, and
Yeah.
it was
Okay.
very
Yeah.
strong. So
And what's happening now is the healers, they don't they don't know the word no. So I will have people get healings on the table when they're in for a chakra tune-up, because the trance healers, my spirit healers, come in and work on people.
oh wow.
Yeah. So I told them, I said, that's bad for business because that's another service, guys. But they laughed at me.
But it's a
um,
one shop for all, one
yeah.
stop
Yeah.
shop.
So
Yeah, one
yeah,
stop.
they just come in and they heal people.
Yeah.
So, and Harley, have you done treatment? Have you done trance or other types of healings? Yeah, I do remote healings, Harley.
Yeah.
I was working with a lady in England that had breast cancer. It had come back second time, and I worked with her, and she's now cancer free. But she also does medical treatment. So I am a firm believer that what I do, the trance healing, can work in conjunction with any medical treatment that you're getting to enhance the healing properties. So I do work with people that are under medical care, and so we're able to measure the healing. We had some astounding healings happen, but yes, it can be done remotely because it is just energy, just like anything else. People do prefer to have sessions in person, but I do a lot of remote sessions.
Because sometimes that's all she can do is
Yeah,
do it
yeah.
remotely.
But I still teach you how to tap into your healers. So it is still a teaching lesson. There are some people that don't want to do that and they just want me to do the healing, and that's fine. No big deal. I can do that. But I believe in empowering people so that you don't need people like me eventually.
Yeah.
That's my goal, is to get out to the masses that they have these abilities.
And your Thursday night trans
Mm-hmm.
circle, more than a class, um, you do healing there. Well,
Yeah.
a couple times a month they'll do the trans healing, and then
Yeah.
trans communication, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So what we do, it is a practice group for trans mediumship. Okay. So you sort of have to have a little bit of understanding of how trance works. And so, like this week, we're doing a physical mediumship experiment. So we are going to do a physical seance to bring in spirit for physical phenomenon to happen. And then next week, I've got a wonderful thing planned. Next week, we're going to do trance healing, but we're going to do trance healing in the barn with the horses. So I want to feel the power and the energy of the horse healing combined with the spirit healers for trance healing. So the next week's class, next Thursday from 7 to 9, I will have chairs set up in the paddock area, and we will all go in to do trance healing with the horses walking around freely to be included in that energy.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and then we do transcommunication too. So, like one week will be transcommunication. We do transcommunication 2 times, and then we do trance healing. And we do different types of trance healing. We'll do remote and in person. And then I also have people dabble with the trance healing that I do, where you sit in a chair and it's hands off. So, there's a couple different ways that we do trance healing, hands on and hands off. So, how do you know if you're in trance versus sleeping? Well, trance, you would wake up. Trance, you would come out of it. Sleeping, you would just continue to sleep. The one thing that I would do, Pam, is I would not sit in trance when I'm tired. If you're questioning whether you're sleeping or in trance, try to do it when you're awake and have energy. Try not to do it when you're getting ready to go to sleep, because that could be you going into sleep. Because when I do a trance healing session, it's almost like a yoga nidra feeling. You feel very refreshed and rejuvenated when you're done out of the trance healing session. So you shouldn't go to sleep and drift off completely and not wake up. So if that's happening, then you're probably going into sleep, and I would change the time of which you're doing that. I hope that helps.
And she can, she works with animals, and so she communicates not only with her guides, but animals as well, and people, all sorts of entities. But the other thing, she reads very well, and she kind of alluded to it earlier, having 30 years in the industry, she can read automobiles
Yes.
very well. Just saying, if you have a question, it's like, what the heck is going on? I'll call her and it's like, they did this. Why is it doing this? And she goes, they didn't do it right. But she has the answer. She knows what she's talking about when it comes to vehicles.
Yeah, it's funny because Scott just sent me a text message. He has an automotive question. Yeah, I used my psychic abilities to fix cars. The way I looked at it is I healed cars and healed people at the same time. Because when cars break, people break. And so I used a lot of my psychic abilities to help clients and also help fix the cars because, the technicians would come to me and they say, I've got a hard case here. We can't figure it out. It could be 3 different things. I don't want to just start replacing parts because it costs money. What do you suggest? And Spirit would always give me the hit and it always fixed the car. So that's how I used my abilities during work. So you can use your abilities for everyday life, guys. You don't need to do what I'm doing. You can use it in your everyday life and it'd make your everyday life easier. Just learn how to tap into it, learn how to talk and learn how to listen. The biggest thing is learn how to listen.
Yes. Yes, I just wanted to bring that out there because there's so many things we do. All of us have different abilities, different ways of life. So utilize your knowledge along with your intuition to get things done.
Yeah. I mean, you can weave this into every aspect of your life. And letting you had, how does one contact you for cars? You can go on my website. My website is my name. It's www.tinaescoto.com. You can also reach out to me via text, any of that. Working on a car is like operating on a person. Yeah, it can be sometimes. Yeah. It's the same thing with diagnostics. The doctors only have so much diagnostic and then they have to go with an intuition or a gut instinct sometimes. It's the same thing with cars. Cars are highly, highly complicated. I mean, when I got out in 2015, there was over 28 onboard computers that would talk to each other in a millisecond.
Wow.
And if a computer did not respond quickly enough, it will throw a check engine light or a code of some sort, which would throw people in a tizzy. But it was just saying, hey, there was a little hiccup and this computer's a little slow. So it gets very complicated with computers. I wish the old days where cars were a lot simpler, but they've got it to the point where the common person can't work on their own cars anymore.
Wow. I know that part is sad. Well, thank you so much, Tina, for coming in. I know we had some glitches, but
we got through it.
Yeah, we got through it. And I hope you guys got a lot of information. Again, you can get a hold of Tina Escoto at tinaescoto.com.
Yes.
I do have that information on the description. I will add her email to that. That is escototina at gmail.com. Her last name before her first name at Gmail. So I will add that back in there. And then, yeah.
And I want to thank everybody for piping in with questions and everything. And if you ever have any questions, you can always reach out and call me. I don't charge for a question, I charge for sessions. So if there's more than one question, then you might want to think about a session, okay? But you're not alone out there. Try to get plugged into community. Try to get plugged into other like-minded people, and it'll help you on your journey. You're not alone.
And you do mentorships as well?
I do. I do. You can just look at my website. I offer a lot of different services, but I do mentoring. 90-minute session is like $105, which is not bad. I try to keep my prices low so that I can reach the masses and not just the elite. So I do offer free events also to help people. Most of my classes, my practice groups are $15. So like I said, I try to keep things cost effective for the normal person.
Right. And the best cost effective is coming up this Sunday. Is that correct?
Yes. This Sunday is Sisterhood of Healers. It's a free event. My colleagues like Julie and people that come, that are out there working, and even my students, they'll come in and they'll donate their time. I donate my time and space at my center. And we do free healings and readings. It's the first Sunday of every month from 10 to 11:30. It's donation based. You can come in and donate if you want. If not, I don't turn anybody away. And we also have refreshments. And it's just nice to be around like-minded people. And it's a nice drive to come up to Cave Creek. It's a real pretty area.
As long as Scottsdale Road is not being not under construction.
Everything's under construction in this valley right now. Cave Creek Road, Scottsdale Road, Pima Road is the only one I believe is not under construction.
That's not a bad road either. What's the name of your website, Tina?
Oh, it's my name, www.tinaescoto.com. I try to keep it simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything's my name.
Yes, and like I said, if you type in Tina Escoto on Google, you will find her immediately.
You'll find all my dark, deep secrets of my corporate job with the car industry, and then it even has all of my competitions with horses. If you really start Googling, yeah, my mounted shooting times and barrel racing and all that.
Wow.
I go way back.
Thank you so much, Tina. And this coming Monday, for those of you in the Phoenix area, will be red light cabinet.
Yeah, Monday. That's fun. Yeah.
And now that you have more than one cabinet going on, yes.
Yeah, I've got 5 cabinets, and everybody can sit in the cabinet, and it's a lot of fun. You'll actually see spirit overlay people's faces in the cabinets.
Well, thank you guys. Remember, tonight is Angie, I hope, and Don, after his happy birthday yesterday. So happy birthday again, Don.
Yeah,
and Linda. Tomorrow, I'm not sure if Shauna and Donna will be on, but I will be back with Scott on Friday. So we will see you then. Susan will be on this Saturday. She is changing to the first Saturday of each month. She's not going to do it every Saturday, but one Saturday a month. Friday night, we've got Bonnie and Sarah Lyle, and they're on Friday night live happy hour from 5 to 7 Mountain Standard Time. And anything else? Oh, and then Bonnie will be back on Sunday with Jess. So hope to see you guys there. And do you have anything this Saturday for your at your center, or is that the 4th?
No, I don't have anything this Saturday. All I've got coming up is November 8th, which is a automatic inspired writing class that I'll be doing here on the Saturday from 1:30 to 3:30.
Okay, that is the following Saturday.
Yeah, the following Saturday. That's the only thing I've got going on besides the Sisterhood of Healers this Sunday.
Have a great one, guys. rise above with love. Thank you so much. Tina?
Thank you. Have a blessed day, guys.
Thank you so much.